My daughter feels unsafe around Uncle Frank, so I banned him from the cookout. Now the family is torn, but I'm standing by her. So our family has this big barbecue cookout once every 2 months. People take turn on whose house it is going to be next. This time it is in our house. These events are really big in our family, almost like a festival, so everyone closer to us will come. Recently, my daughter, who is 13 years old, seemed really upset and tried to make it postpone or just to avoid it. Which is odd because she loves these family cookouts. She wouldn't tell me the reason until she finally did. She said she is not comfortable with her Uncle Frank, my brother. I asked her why she thinks like that. She says he gives her weird vibes. Some things he does that really makes her uncomfortable, hugging her tight, holding her waist gently, always gives some excuses to be near her. She claims she caught him looking at her chest. He also makes comments like, "You are going to be a heartbreaker. You are turning into a really beautiful woman. You are mature for your age." Last cookout, he asked her if she has kissed anyone. When she was shy, he told her, "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone." I asked my daughter if she'd feel comfortable if we didn't invite Uncle Frank to the cookout, and she agreed. So I only invited my immediate family. Frank found out and was offended, claiming my daughter was lying and that she had been the one coming on to him. I told him I had to respect my daughter's boundaries, and now the whole family is divided. But most are taking Frank's side, saying my daughter is lying for attention. She's been crying, thinking her family hates her. But I've reassured her it's not her fault. My wife is the only one on my side, believing Frank's behavior is predatory since she was groomed as a teen and sees the signs. I just want my daughter to feel safe. Frank has never shown any type of predator behavior. In fact, I heard him say a lot of times that pedophiles should be sentenced to death. He is overprotective of his own daughter. But on the other hand, I cannot ignore my daughter's feelings. Did I do something wrong here? Update 1. There was a big fight. I can't tell all the details, but I can say one thing is clear, that my brother Frankie will not be near my daughter. My daughter is very upset because of the fight. Some people are still calling her a liar and an attention seeker, but I can see how it is affecting her mental health. So I have decided to cancel the cookout. Instead, me, my wife, my son, and my daughter will go to a Korean BQ instead. Hope this can cheer her up. I will give a full update about the whole thing later on. Take care. Update 2. It's been a hectic few days. I took my daughter out for Korean BQ, which she enjoyed, though she got a little sick from the spice. The family talk didn't go well. They defended my brother, saying my daughter was lying or just being rebellious. But I know that's not true. She had no reason to lie about her favorite uncle. I canceled the cookout and told everyone that anyone who disrespects my daughter is out of our lives. I confronted Frank, and he denied everything, even claiming my daughter had a crush on him. So I told him he's no longer welcome near her. Thankfully, my younger brother's fiancée, who works with abuse survivors, set him straight and helped my daughter feel supported. She's still sad, but I'm here for her. She loved the cookouts and BBQs, and now we might never attend because Frank might be there. She cries and thinks this is her fault. She even said she will say sorry to Frank and take back what she said, just be done with it, because she doesn't want people to think she is a bad person. It honestly made me sad that she thinks like that. It is not her fault. She shouldn't apologize for something like that. She is still very much disappointed. We will arrange a therapy for her. I don't want my cheerful daughter over this. Frank's girlfriend did call me to curse us out, by the way, and she is blocked. That's it. I am going to focus on my family from now on. I don't need people who blame my daughter instead of the culprit in my life. You are a great parent. Your family suck, however. I'm glad you are taking your daughter to therapy and working on her self-esteem. Frank sadly will trip up in the future, but it won't be with your daughter, and that's all you can control. Once he is caught and outed, remain no contact with his defenders, even if they try to apologize. They really suck. Your brother is lying. It is so hard for a kid to report abuse. Have you ever heard an abuser or rapist admit it? Yeah, me either. They say 1 out of 3 women are abused. I went and told when I was 14. No one believed me either. Until other people told. I am what therapists call the truth teller in the family. Support your child. Also, therapy is necessary for recovery and validation. Make sure you tell her this happened, and you will protect her from him. Why would a child lie? Also, on the rare occasion they do, there is a history of behavior that is indicative of lying. Good for you for supporting your child. She will remember that you did. A user replies, they never admit it. By 14, your daughter was the victim of SA. She got out and immediately and called the police and her dad and I. She woke the whole house up. Best friend's 22, your loser adult brother we didn't know had moved home. And his parents and siblings caught him trying to cover evidence. She went to the hospital, did swabs, got DNA and everything, and his approach is still it didn't happen. She's a liar. There's 2 more victims of his who've now come forward since. And he's still crying he's the victim of a conspiracy. Thankfully from behind bars while awaiting criminal trial. Update 3. These few months have been very hectic and depressing for us and our whole family. First of all, my daughter is not doing very well. I took her to a therapist and she finally opened up about everything. I am ashamed to say I failed as a first of all. I just want to make it clear that my pedophile brother Frank did not have any intercourse with my daughter, but what he did was no less disgusting. My daughter said that his uncle and her became very close. She would often share things with him, even the fact that she had a crush on him, to which he told her if she wasn't his niece, he would definitely ask. I do understand where my daughter is coming from. She is a child. She doesn't know any better, but shouldn't my brother be her guide? They exchanged messaged, and in one message he asked her to show him her new bra. There were many messages, and it was clear he was testing my daughter's boundaries. The straw that broke camel's back was the few before I made my first post. She went to visit him, and he somehow lured her into the bathroom and asked her to touch his thing. She ran from there and has been in panic mode ever since. Needless to say, my daughter is a mess, because she thinks this is all her fault because she confessed that she had a crush on him, and he took it too far. My wife and I always reassured her she did nothing wrong. My own brother is a pedophile. I couldn't control myself and I lost all control and went to his house. We got into a fight. The police was called. I spent the night in jail. I filled charges against him and police is still doing investigation. They did find CP in my brother's old computer, but he denies ever having it. He still claims his account got hacked and that my daughter is lying because she admitted that she had a crush on him and he turned her down. That's why she is making it all up. I swear to God I would have killed him that night if his girlfriend didn't intervene. And as for my parents, that was a disappointing because they are taking my brother's side. They claim that bringing police into this will only bring shame and he will lose his daughter? Like what the fuck? I tried reasoning with them, but it is no use. I blocked them and just focusing on my daughter. One more thing, I did inform Frank's ex, his daughter's mother. My daughter has been taken in by someone who will be fighting for full custody, and my younger brother is the only one actively supporting us through all of this. I've realized I don't need people in my life who would rather support a child predator. I'm not okay. And I've also started therapy because it's been too overwhelming. I can't even begin to imagine what my daughter is going through. Frank played with her when she was a kid. He was there when she was born. How could he do this to his own niece? I'm thinking about moving away from all of this. Story 2. Sister's best friend humiliates main with a hurtful joke at my sister's wedding. I, 27F, was a bridesmaid at my sister's wedding last week. The maid of honor, my sister's childhood best friend, gave an emotional speech, but then made a joke about me being the family screw-up who finally didn't mess up her bridesmaid duties. Everyone laughed, but I didn't find it funny. For context, I've had a rough few years. I struggled with my mental health and dropped out of college for a while. I've since gotten my life back on track, but it's still a sensitive topic for me. Wearing that joke in front of all our family and friends wasn't funny at all. My sister's best friend and I never really got along, but still I never expected something like this from her. Especially the day wasn't about me at all, then why bring me up in the speech? I tried to stay composed, but I felt the tears coming, so I quietly left the reception and went outside to collect myself. Sister followed me out and asked what was wrong. When I told her, she said it was just a joke and she meant nothing bad. I tried to go back inside, but I just couldn't, and I ended up leaving the wedding early. My parents understand why I was upset, but my sister is angry with me. I do feel terrible for leaving, but I also feel like I had the right to feel hurt and eat it. I said nothing at the moment, because I didn't want to cause a scene on my sister's special day. And I can't reason with her right now, because she will just ask me if I haven't been taking my meds lately, because that's what she does when she's angry with me. So I'm giving her some time to maybe realize how her best friend's joke was out of line. Edit 2, someone asked me if my sister's best friend and I argued biff, or / did I give her a reason to do this. My sister's best friend and I never went past hi. She told me before, a few years ago, that she in general doesn't feel comfortable around someone struggling mentally, because in her head God only knows what they're capable of. Since she said this / to this day, I just try to avoid her. Update 1, the same day I posted, my dad called to check up on me and see if my sister and I had talked things out. And when I told him no, he said it's better if we talk about it now and assured me that I have nothing to apologize for. If my sister thinks she has nothing to apologize for, then the least she can do is make her best friend apologize or fully realize that the joke was out of line. A few days ago, I met with my brother and he mentioned that Bill, my sister's husband, didn't like how the maid of honor called me a screw-up in front of everyone. Some people who laughed said they did it out of nervousness. On Monday, my sister called me to talk. When I got there, her best friend was on the phone the whole time. My sister started by saying that a few years ago, I would have laughed at the joke. I told her maybe some laughed because they didn't know why I was called a screw-up. During the conversation, my sister did most of the talking, and I felt like she was just blaming me without trying to understand my side. When I tried to talk, she pulled me closer with every sentence, which really irritated me. I kept wondering if pushing her away would make me seem like the bad guy. I tried to leave, but she insisted we couldn't go until we sorted it out. Eventually, she told her best friend to apologize. She refused and reminded my sister that I was the reason her husband got angry at her on their wedding day, because I couldn't take a joke, and when I tried to explain why, edit, I told her if she had focused her speech on the bride/groom, then maybe he wouldn't have had a reason to be angry. She refused to listen and brushed my words off. She said, yeah, whatever. Sorry, I was glad it was finally over, and as I was about to leave, I heard her say, can't take a joke that everyone knows is true. Both of them laughed, but my sister stopped mid-laugh and apologized. I didn't say anything and left. I think I've had enough. I know I've had a few rough years. I dropped out of college for a while, fine. But I've since gotten my life back on track. My parents helped me through it all and never made me feel like a burden. At first, I was on some strong meds that made me feel tired/sleepy most of the time. After a while, I started to feel a little better with therapy and my family's support. During that period, it was me, my parents, and my brother. My sister was 3 hours away for a job and used to visit sometimes and would often bring her best friend along with her. Looking back, I don't want to say she hates me, but I know she felt ashamed to have a family member struggling with mental health issues. I don't know how to explain this. I've made up my mind and decided to go NC for now. If my parents and my brother, who were there when I was going through it all, never made me feel that they're ashamed of me, then why would she? I'm still on some meds, but feels much better than before. I have a stable job, my own place, and friends who loves me for who I am. I can say I'm proud of myself a little. I love my family to death and tried to maintain a relationship with my sister all these years, but I'm trying to improve myself, not constantly be reminded of what I was a few years ago. Update 2. I went to see my parents with my brother. My dad texted me before to let me know that my sister was coming too. I didn't want to cause any problems between her and my parents by telling them about what she and her best friend did. But when she started the conversation with lies, I told them everything and made it clear that I'm not asking them to take sides and that I will still come to family gatherings, but I won't engage with her in any way. My dad couldn't just let it slide when she grabbed me by the back of my neck, but my mom tried to say it was out of desperation to get me to accept the apology. Then my sister asked how anyone was supposed to remember my triggers after all these years, especially since I didn't react. She even suggested I had been faking it all along. I regret it now, but I told her I wish she'd go through what I went through. She told me to get over it and stop begging magazines to write about the wedding, then left. Later my dad told me her best friend's younger sister saw it on People magazine's Instagram. She told me to get over it, yet she's still the one bringing it up. My mom finally understands why I went no contact, and my dad and brother fully support me. But I keep thinking about how she tried to provoke a reaction, and now thinks I've been faking it just because I didn't respond. It's been 11 years. Years of therapy and meds, and yes, I've gotten better. Not 100%, though, because I still feel irritated. If I wasn't already labeled as crazy, I probably would have shoved her away. I should have cut contact the moment she asked my parents why I didn't stay at the party and wait for my brother to pick me up. The reason I left was because some older, drunk guys were getting loud and 2 of them followed me. But my sister told my parents, and still believes that I left with them because I was naive and scared, or ashamed to admit it even after those guys confessed everything. But I was young, and cutting ties with her didn't feel possible at the time. I also want to mention how supportive my partner has been through all of this. Since the day I told him everything, he's been incredibly understanding. Even though I never asked, I know he screens movies and shows before we watch them together to make sure nothing would make me uncomfortable. When I choose something to watch, I feel safe knowing he's already checked it for me. He finds a way to distract me for a few minutes to check it before we watch. He has never made me feel like a screw-up. He makes me feel like I still deserve to be loved. Thank you to each of you for your kind comments and reaching out in private edit. There's something else that happened in the last few days, but I can't mention it. Since they found out I posted on the internet from People magazine's Instagram, I assume they searched for the original post here on Reddit. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong though.